So first of all, I'm going to do a little introduction on this AEG. This is a cheap Chinese clone. This is a couple of years old already, and it was once the only Metal Gearbox clone you could get. Right now, there are much better clones out there, and there are almost no reasons to buy this gun now. But still, some shops still sell them, and some noobs still buy them. So, now that this is said, the box. You see stats here, the length, the weight. By the way, the weight, that's about right, because it's really light. The velocity. They show you the velocity with 0.12 gram BBs and 0.2 gram BBs. See? That's not a reason why that's a noob gun, because they tell you the velocity with 0.12 gram BBs, but only noobs will use those because it will probably break your gun. So the velocity with 0.2 gram BBs, that's about right. 250 to 270 feet per second. Sometimes higher, like 280, but not much more. The range, 40 to 50 meters. That's a bit much because that's roughly 150 feet, and for such a low velocity, that's a lot. So we'll see if that's true later. The magazine capacity, 425 BBs, that's about right, and you'll know why later. Inside the box, you clearly see this is second hand. There is the manual, and there should be a lot of accessories here, but none of them are there. There should be some BBs. I think that's supposed to be a flashlight. There's a red dot that basically sucks. A battery charger, which sucks too. A battery, which sucks too. It's basically a piece of shit. No wonder why it's supposed to be green. That's the same battery that comes with the WELL R6, so it pretty much sucks. A top rail to put on top of the gun here. And the magazine. First of all, I start with the magazine. 425 BBs is about right. That's what it holds. You see, it's really big. Yeah, so that's an M4, M16 magazine. And that's the R8 or G3 if you prefer magazine. As you see, it's pretty big because in real life that will be a magazine full of 7.62 per 51mm bullets. So it holds a lot, and while I'm at it, I'm going to tell you right now, it is plastic and there are some screw holes visible, but it never misfires, it never jammed. It is great. It feeds really well. So if you have any other kind of G3, even if it's Tokyo Marui or Classic Army, if you want really cheap magazines, those are available for less than $5, and they feed really well. And they're not too shiny either. A nice matte black finish. So overall, the magazine is really good. The top rail is full metal. It has a top rail which is compatible with any kind of scopes or red dots because it is a 20mm rails. Sorry. It also has a rail inside for lasers or flashlight or anything you would like to add. And it is full metal, so it weighs quite a bit, and that's good. That's really good extra. Much better than the red dot or anything. Now the gun. Sorry if it took some time to get there. The gun overall looks pretty good. Some people think that the G3 SAS is kind of ugly, and they may be right, but it's not that ugly, so yeah. As I said before, it's really light. You can easily lift it with one hand, and it's really light. The metal parts on the gun, well, yeah, because there is no metal parts. If you think about metal, this gun probably won't even cross your mind. The only metal parts are the sling mount here on the stock, the trigger, selector switch, the magazine release, the rail under here. There should be another rail on each side of the handguard, here and here, but I don't have them, which is another proof that it is second hand. there is the charging handle here that broke on mine. I'll tell you more about it later. And the various screws and pins on the gun. The rest is all plastic. About the plastic, you can see here the handguard, this part here, the grip, and the stock. They all have a nicely textured plastic. It's really nice feeling, and the paint is pretty good, but the rest, the body here, the upper receiver and the lower receiver, are kind of cheap feeling hollow plastic. But they're actually quite solid, and it doesn't creak, flex, or bend or anything. On the other side, it's pretty much the same. Plastic is pretty shiny now, but when you first get it, it's not that shiny. So yeah, the magazine release is metal. To put the magazine in, you kind of do like an AK-47 or AK-74, like that. And to release it, you push that button here and take it off. You can also, by the way, push this button here, which is also metal. The selector switch, you see, the selector switch are nicely painted. You can see safe here, semi-automatic and fully automatic. It's very well painted and doesn't seem to go away quite easily. So that's a good point, and it also clicks very nicely in place. And see, the grip, it has some grooves here for the finger and a thumb rest here, so it's really comfortable to hold. And operating the selector switch is very easy as well. Unfortunately, unlike other H&K guns, the selector switch on this one is not ambidextrous. So yeah, now the trademarks. Well, for such a cheap gun that is already a couple of years old, well, there are no trademarks, of course. The only trademarks are this one here, WELL R8, WELL, and made in China here. So basic ugly WELL trademarks, but back in the days it was the only cheap gun you could get. So yeah, now it's pretty much only a noob gun that some noobs still think it's good, and yeah, it's also rebranded by Crossman under the name Pulse R70 something. So yeah, it's basically a noob gun. I don't consider myself as a noob, but it's a noob gun also because some websites say it's 330 feet per second with 0.2 gram BBs, which is absolutely wrong. And I received comments on my video on the WELL R6 AEG saying, "Oh, you're stupid, it's 330 feet per second with 0.2 gram BBs." But it's not. The WELL R6 is 280 feet per second, and so is this one. So enough about my rant. Now, charging handle here, you can pull it back and you can stick it in that notch here and lock it in place back, but now I can't do it anymore because mine broke. But it took so many H&K slaps to broke. I'm kind of impressed by the quality of the charging handle. It lasted much longer than any Classic Army or Tokyo Marui charging handle would have lasted. So when you pull it back, it shows the hop-up. So you see that little dial here? To put some hop-up, you simply, if you roll the dial upwards like that, it puts some hop-up. If you put it down like that, it takes the hop-up off. So yeah, because it's mostly a noob gun, I'm gonna say what a hop-up is so that I don't get too much questions. The hop-up is something that puts backspin on the BBs to make it go further. So that's it. I hope you understood that because I said it kind of fast.